Alright, so we have to talk about the absolute turning point for the House of York. We've seen the photos. The removal vans are finally at the gates of Royal Lodge. After 20 years of Andrew basically daring the king to kick him out, the keys have officially been handed over. And look, this isn't just a move. It's a total eviction from the life he knew. He's gone from a 30-room trophy mansion in Windsor to a place called Marsh Farm in Norfolk. Think about that name for a second. It's not exactly palace vibes. It's a 5-bedroom farmhouse on the edge of the Sandringham estate, and it's so much smaller that he's literally had to park a massive white mobile home in the backyard just to give his security team a place to sit. The move itself was almost heartbreakingly desperate. People actually caught sight of his moving boxes. And get this, even though the king stripped his titles months ago, the labels on the boxes still said HRH Office and HRH Sitting Room. It's like he's trying to pack up a version of himself that doesn't exist anymore. He spent the last few weeks hiding out at Wood Farm while they finished the security gates and the no-fly zone at the new place, but now he's moved in. It's a lonely, high-security life in the middle of the Norfolk wetlands, and you have to wonder if this internal exile is as good as it's ever going to get for him. Okay, so let's talk about the absolute nightmare that was Andrew's 66th birthday last month, February 19th, 2026. Usually a royal birthday involves a nice dinner or at least a polite tweet from the palace, right? Not this time. Instead of blowing out candles, Andrew was reportedly being processed at a police station in Norfolk. This wasn't just a quick chat, it was an 11-hour detention on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Now, the context here is wild. It's not just about the old Epstein headlines, it's about those 2010 trade envoy emails that have finally caught up with him. Because there were reports that he had leaked documents allegedly, and those documents were confidential, we're talking about stuff related to Afghanistan and even official reports from Southeast Asia, all to Jeffrey Epstein. The imagery is just brutal. The former Randy Andy, a man who used to have the world at his feet, sitting in a standard police interview room while his brother, King Charles, basically signaled to the world that the law must take its course. There was no royal shield this time, no comment from the palace to protect him. He was released under investigation, but that 11-hour stint in custody changed everything. It marks the moment he went from being a family embarrassment to a criminal suspect in the eyes of the law. While Andrew was dealing with the police and the moving trucks, everyone was asking the same thing: where is Sarah? For decades, she's been his loudest defender, calling them the happiest divorced couple in the world. But as soon as the 2026 investigation hit the fan, Fergie basically pulled a vanishing act. She hasn't just gone quiet, she's gone global. Reports have tracked her from a high-end £13,000 a day clinic in Switzerland to the remote coast of Donegal, Ireland. It's a total 180 from her usual front and center energy. In Ireland, she was spotted at a 4-star spa, telling anyone who'd listen that the fresh air was her sanctuary for when things get overwhelming. And honestly, overwhelming is an understatement right now. But here's the kicker: she's not just taking a spa day, she's reportedly distancing herself for good. Word is she has zero plans to move into that cramped farmhouse in Norfolk with Andrew. She's been couch surfing with wealthy friends and checking out properties in Windsor to live on her own. It feels like she's finally realized that hitching her wagon to Andrew's scandal is a sinking ship. She's trading the royal drama for wellness retreats and suitcase living, trying to scrub the association off her brand before the next wave of Epstein files hits the headlines. It's a classic Fergie pivot, escaping the storm to see if she can stage one last solo comeback. Now, we have to get into the absolute weirdest part of the newly released 2026 DOJ files. There's this specific email exchange from September 2011 that is blowing everyone's minds. At this point, Epstein had already been out of jail for a while, and the Yorks were publicly claiming they'd cut him off, but the digital trail tells a completely different story. There were reports that Sarah sent a congratulations email to Jeffrey on a bizarrely personal matter. She writes, "I heard from the Duke that you have had a baby boy." She goes on to offer her love, friendship, and congratulations on the birth of this child. Just think about the timing. This is years after his first conviction, and she's sending him gushing life updates. The internet is currently losing it over this because, as far as the public knew, Epstein didn't have any children. But let's assume that he had the boy. From my calculations, he would be 14 years old today in 2026. This email has sparked a massive wave of speculation. Who is this child? And why was Fergie, someone who was supposedly appalled by Epstein, the one acting like a close family friend? What makes it even crazier is that just minutes after that sweet message, she sent a second furious follow-up. She basically accused him of vanishing and said it was so crystal clear that he was only using her to get to Andrew. It's this wild, high-drama flip-flop that shows just how messy and transactional their relationship really was. It wasn't just business, it was this deep, complicated entanglement that they're still trying to explain away 15 years later. So here's the part that really peels back the curtain on how these people actually talk to each other behind closed doors. We're looking at these 2011 messages, and the emotional whiplash is enough to give you a headache. Fergie was calling him her supreme friend, and the brother she always wished for. But then, literally minutes later, the vibe shifts completely. It's like a switch flipped. She sends this follow-up message through her BBM. Remember BlackBerry Messenger, where she is absolutely livid. Now she's saying he ghosted her and even used her to get to Andrew. It's this raw, transactional moment where you realize their friendship wasn't built on wellness or mutual respect. It was built on access and money. It's just wild to see that play out in real time. In public, they were distancing themselves, but in private, they were locked in this high-stakes drama over who was using whom. It really makes you wonder how much of their loyalty to each other was actually just a desperate attempt to keep the other person from talking. Can you even imagine that Andrew and Fergie have always claimed to be the happiest divorced couple? They even stayed in the same house for years. But as of March 2026, that fairy tale has hit a brick wall. It is now the first time they are officially living apart after decades. While Andrew is hunkered down in that farmhouse in Norfolk, Sarah is, as one insider put it, ready to spread her wings. She didn't move with him. Instead, she's been suitcase living between luxury clinics in Switzerland and friends' estates in Ireland. There's a very loud sense in the UK right now that Sarah has realized her association with Andrew is finally becoming a total career killer. And it's not just the two of them. The York family unit is fracturing. There's even news that Princess Eugenie has cut her father off completely. She's living part-time in Portugal and is said to be livid that her parents' past is now haunting her own professional life. Beatrice is trying to play peacemaker, but even she's being advised by former government ministers to just pack up and move abroad to save her own reputation. When the kids start distancing themselves and the happiest divorced couple stops sharing a roof, you know the PR shield has finally shattered. They aren't fighting for each other anymore. They're fighting for individual survival. Now, here's a twist you might not have expected. The hardest working royal herself, Princess Anne, reportedly stepped in when everyone else was turning their backs. The story goes that back on Christmas Day 2025, when Andrew was essentially banned from the big family lunch at Sandringham, Anne reached out with a surprising olive branch. She allegedly offered him a place to live on her own estate at Gatcombe Park. It was described as an act of Christian charity. Basically, she didn't want her brother to be completely homeless or isolated. But as we've seen in early 2026, that offer didn't just get cold, it was reportedly revoked. As more of these Epstein files started dropping and the police investigation intensified, even Anne had to draw a line. She's famously loyal, but she's even more loyal to the monarchy's survival. It's one thing to help a brother who's down on his luck, it's another to harbor someone who's becoming a central figure in a global scandal. So, while there was a moment where Andrew could have been surrounded by family, he's now truly on his own in Norfolk. When even your big sister, the most stoic member of the family, decides she can't have you on her doorstep, you know the bridge has been burned for good. So, here's where the story gets really Hollywood. We're in 2026, and the industry is buzzing about a potential nuclear memoir race. With the Yorks officially evicted and their royal allowance basically drying up, the rumour mill at the London Book Fair is in overdrive. The word on the street is that Sarah is the one being circled by publishers with a $20 million carrot. Experts are calling it a calculated survival strategy. She needs the money, and let's be real, she knows exactly where the bodies are buried. There's even talk that she might lean into a tell-all that subtly throws Andrew under the bus to save her own brand. Imagine the drama, a book that finally spills on what was really in those Epstein emails, or what life was like behind the closed doors of Royal Lodge. But then you have Andrew. While he supposedly promised the king he wouldn't pull a Prince Harry and write a burn-it-all-down memoir, some insiders say he's feeling backed into a corner. If he's facing mounting legal fees from this misconduct investigation, he might decide that his version of the truth is his only way to pay the bills. It's a high-stakes game of chicken. Does Sarah write the book to secure her daughter's future, or does Andrew beat her to the punch to try and fix his reputation before a trial? Either way, the happiest divorced couple is now reportedly competing for the same publishing deals, and in this race, loyalty is looking like a very expensive luxury. By early 2026, the York brand hadn't just cooled off, it had gone completely radioactive. We're seeing a level of desperation that's honestly hard to watch. Just this week, Sarah had to have her reps shoot down these wild rumors that she was pitching a reality show about cloning the late Queen's corgis. I'm not joking. While her team says she's constantly declining reality offers, the fact that cloned royal dogs is even a headline shows you how far the public's perception of her has shifted. She's gone from a respected, if chaotic, member of the inner circle to someone people genuinely believe would sell a pet cloning series just to keep the lights on. But the real hit came from the city of York itself. In a unanimous vote, they officially stripped Sarah of her Freedom of the City honor, the same one they took from Andrew back in 2022. It's a huge symbolic middle finger. When a historic city decides they don't even want your name on their honorary rolls anymore, the duchy dream is dead. Most of her charities have folded, her businesses are being shuttered by the DOJ investigation, and even her most loyal fans are reportedly throwing their wedding memorabilia in the trash. It's not just a PR slump anymore, it's a total cultural eviction. So, where does this leave them as we move deeper into 2026? For Andrew, the internal exile is now a legal reality. He's not just a prince without a palace, he's a man under the microscope of a misconduct investigation that could carry a life sentence. The king has made it crystal clear the royal shield is gone, and the law will take its course. Sitting in that farmhouse in the Norfolk marshes, surrounded by security cameras and a staff trailer, it feels like he's living in a gilded cage that's getting smaller by the day. There is no comeback path for him, only a long, quiet wait for the next legal shoe to drop. For Sarah, the path is different, but just as brutal. She's trying to navigate a fiery return by distancing herself from the scandal, but the 2011 emails have made her a permanent person of interest. US lawmakers are now asking her to testify about her ties to Epstein, and her reputation in America is reportedly so damaged that publishers are rejecting her book deals left and right. She's caught between being a loyal ex-wife and a solo survivor, and right now it looks like she's choosing herself. At the end of the day, the House of York as we knew it is finished. The kids are distancing themselves to save their own lives. The king has shut the palace doors, and the public has moved on from curiosity to cold indifference. Whether it's a tell-all memoir or a courtroom drama, the next chapter won't be about a royal return. It'll be about who survives the fallout. Is there any way back? Honestly, looking at the state of things right now, the only way forward is further into the shadows. This isn't just a royal rift, it's the final curtain call for a family that simply ran out of chances.